Time for a guest now, though, and I'm thrilled to be joined on the sofa, or in our set, we're the lovely Holly Whitelaw from Gleaning Cornwall. Good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon.
Holly, thank you so much for joining us here at Chaos. You're from Gleaning Cornwall. Tell us a little bit about gleaning. What is gleaning for people who don't know?
Well, it's basically just harvesting produce that would otherwise go to waste. A lot of it is in the field. So yesterday we were cutting cabbages, which is a whole thing I've never done before. And the day before I was just getting a load of lovely potatoes out of a big crate that were too big. And this is happening across the board. Thousands and thousands of tons in Cornwall alone are being wasted. Some of it, is useful for compost. But those farms and those fields tend to get a lot of one thing, which isn't so good for the ground. A mix is good. Diversity and everything. And so it's basically then getting that produce to people in need. There's over 40 different organisations that we're giving to, including Wheels on Wheels, food banks, community larders, community kitchens, and we've just been asked by Plymouth to provide 5 tonnes a week.
Wow.
And so, it's gone from a relatively small thing. It started by me hearing about it and then seeing a bit later the Simon Reeves programme. I don't know if you saw that.
That was
oh
really
my
popular,
God.
Wasn't it?
Well, it was just the other side of Cornwall, isn't it? So so saw that and went, right, that's it. I must get on with this gleaning malarkey that I've heard of. Because I'd heard that there was a little bit of funding, £2,000, that this organisation, Feeding Britain, you could sort of apply for. And going through hoops for these funding things, bit of a pain, but got there and bought a load of knives, and I've got the best knives now.
It's all about the tools, isn't it?
It's all about the tools, even for us girls, and the cut-proof gloves and all of these things, and health and safety risk assessments and policies and insurance. And then, you find a couple of other, there were ladies who helped, and that sort of money ran out quite quickly. So we did from February to the end of March. And then we kept doing it a bit because it just makes sense and it's fun. And then through contacts, Feeding Britain got in touch going, do you want to expand? And I was like, yeah. Because all this food is carbon and we've got to stop that waste. And there is a growing need. It was bad at the beginning of COVID, but food banks generally don't get much fresh produce. A lot of them don't, get lovely things like Chaos gets here, but some tend to just get browning bananas, browning salad, and so this is really fresh, and people are learning what to do with pumpkins and beetroot as well, which is kind of useful. Sorry, I'm rabbiting on.
No, this is really, really interesting. What I was going to ask is obviously it's fantastic work you guys are doing, but I guess in an ideal world we wouldn't need gleaning. So
no.
Why do we need to do it?
Well, because farmers have to overproduce in order to ensure they've got enough for the market. Because you don't know if a pest disease, flood, whatever might come in, and that line is very fine. We've never actually paid so little for our food. We're sort of spoilt. The taxation system and previous government payment system to farmers has propped up our food in a way that is not showing the actual cost. And the environment has suffered as a result, because farmers are doing more with less. And, a lot of them are in debt. A lot of them are really stressed. A lot of them don't know what to do next because things are in flux. And we're not paying enough for our food. So it's a really difficult thing to shift, like one of these big vessels in the water. But it is beginning to shift, and doing this is helping them reach net zero. And I'm hoping to extend what we're doing, because I've got these wonderful, amazing coordinators cropping up around the county, and it looks like into Devon and Somerset soon. Watch this space. We're intending on finding farmers that want shelter belts put in, so trees put along the edges of their fields, because we've had these winds and because trees are good. And because there's a growing need of people who need to get out from in front of their computers and televisions into the outside and doing something practical on the ground to help with the environment and climate emergencies. It's just as simple as that, and it's such fun, folks.
Well, I think it's interesting because, like, I feel personally, gleaning is something that's quite new to me. Obviously, you've been working very hard over the last year or two in Cornwall to make it
just a few months ago. I just had a thing in my boot, a load of cabbages in my boot. It's just gone like a snowball, because it makes sense. Make common sense, common practice is my motto now.
No, I love it. And do you think the pandemic has kind of helped people identify, actually, I want to give back, I want to go out and do stuff? And obviously
we've had a minute to stop and think, haven't we? And a lot of people have stopped and thought, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to do that shitty job. And these are really good jobs, you know? And so expanding on the good is what it's all about. And helping the farmers, because they've got too much on their plate. And they wouldn't say that because they're really like tough. They're tough. But also another good thing that's come from this is that we've been trying not to put food miles onto the distribution side, especially. So if a volunteer comes from Truro to a glean near Hale, say, like yesterday, she went back with a car full of food for the local schools. And now we've got lorry drivers who are going one way with some flowers or some recycled cardboard boxes, and then going back with some glean food. And so we're putting in a funding bid to try and extend that and avoid the void in your car and your van and your lorry, because that makes sense, doesn't it? So the whole thing has gone from a little thing into this like amazing thing, and I'm like, help, anyone, help.
And obviously this year, it feels like more so than ever, there's a lot of talk about climate and how we as individuals can make a change.
Yeah, it's confusing though, isn't it, what to do sometimes.
It is really confusing, and I think as an individual sometimes it's hard to know how you can actually make a difference and an impact as an individual. But when you say things like, you know, people just thinking about what's going one way and coming another and not wasting those days, it's common sense, isn't it? It's
just common sense. It's like, don't put your heating on so much. Don't eat processed food, because that process is taking loads of energy. And the stuff that hasn't got the processing and is local is so much better for you as well. A lot of what we're eating is literally poisonous to us. And we're getting all these different things that are related to gut health related to soil health. And so I've been learning a lot about that.
We see with the NHS, don't we, all these stories about how overwhelmed the NHS is because we're all really ill and we're all demanding things, both mentally and physically. And I feel like getting involved in an activity like this and obviously making those positive changes is surely a double win, both for your mental health and your physical health.
And just today in the news, they're saying how they're going to reduce antidepressant prescriptions and try and get those people who are feeling miserable out doing a combined activity. So I'm hoping to get into that sort of social prescribing thing. And I spoke to a psychiatrist at CAMS who's really keen to sort of try, because they can't do social prescribing for children, which is annoying. But anyhow, that she's going to try and point some of those children. You know, a lot of our teenagers and young people are in absolute anxiety, stress about all of this. And to get them planting trees and to get them doing something positive and to lift their spirits, because there's so much good going on. There's funding now finally coming down for practical solutions on the ground. So if you've got any practical solutions on climate, get in touch with me through the Gleaning Network and also Cornwall Climate Action Network. There's 55 different action net groups around the county. And just a quick call out to say that we're doing this funding. We're trying to do a crowdfunder thing, which is really annoying and really rude to come on here, especially because I'm trying to get your money. But even £5 would be amazing, because currently my car's getting totally... I can't say the word I want to say.
Ruined.
Ruined.
Yes.
And so's a friend, one of the coordinators' vans, and we need to get on the muddy ground because one of the gleans last week had to be cancelled because we just couldn't get the access. So we're trying to get 2 4x4 vehicles and 2 trailers. If anyone's got one, they just don't need any more. Don't waste,
Yeah, that's it. You never know. Always ask, isn't it? You never know who's watching or what people are doing.
I know. So yeah, and the other interesting thing about gleaning is that it goes way back to sort of prehistory time, the beginning of farming. Yeah, it's a thing. Literally, it's in the Bible and everything. And it was one of our first forms of social welfare, because basically people who didn't have a husband died, or they were elderly or whatever, they would get the leftovers from in a field. And who's to say that if there was a particular problem like war or something, that the guys who were harvesting with their scythes would sort of leave a bit extra, because they knew that would be needed by the local people. And it was a rite of passage, but it's sort of gone because of a change of law, all to do with sort of common land and stuff, which is a bit of a shame, but I guess, that's the way of modern life. But it seems like the farmers are mainly happy to do. And our lovely volunteers, you can see here. That's a good bend, isn't it? I can't do that.
There's some lovely pictures that you guys have been capturing.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is just kind of just a win-win here, because you're helping the farming community, you're helping feed some of the the most vulnerable people in the county, and we talk a lot about the kind of food reduction waste as well. On chaos. It's great for your mental health, and it's a lot of this is on your doorstep essentially.
I know. Well, we're not helping the farmers particularly. They have to go out of their way to get in touch with us, and we really need more farmers, because to reach farmers is so hard. Because whenever farmers get contact, it's normally someone trying to sell them something, so they like to just stay in their tractors, I think.
They've not got PAs and receptionists.
No, they have not.
Direct numbers. It's difficult.
So if anyone knows of a farmer, then please have a look at our website, which is gleaningcornwall.org.uk, and it's all over Facebook, or Faceache as I call it. And we're here to contact. We need another coordinator potentially for very north of Cornwall. Beautiful Bude isn't getting much action up there, and then they can help in Devon as well. So there's that need. We need volunteers all the time, because my coordinators don't always want to work the weekends. So it's just a lot of it is using knives, so we don't let young children obviously deal with that. But with carrots and beetroot and things, and sorting potatoes, young children can do, and they're getting a connection with the farm environment, which is really unusual to be able to get, because you don't want to be walking around a field in case there's a tractor or something with young families.
And I feel like that's a whole nother story, isn't it? About we're not seeing young people entering the farming industry. We may very well soon find that we've got a big shortage of farmers because the farming families are kind of, the legacies are coming to an end. It's a bloody hard job, isn't it?
It's it's so difficult to make money. But with my sort of regenerative food and farming hat on, which I'm a director of, there are lots of people wanting land to do good, because you can capture loads of carbon in the soil. And so people are getting to grips with that and going, "Ooh, I want to do that," and "Ooh, I'm bored of being in a city now," because in COVID times it's not very nice. So there's going to be a transition to potentially some yuppie types coming down here and having a go. But in Cornwall, which is quite interesting, there's more community supported agricultural schemes than anywhere else in the country.
Interesting.
We're ahead of the game on the gleaning, and we're ahead of the game on the community supported agricultural schemes. And I think because we really care about the environment, we really do. We're unusual because I suppose we've got more of a connection.
Sure.
And I was reading just last night that it's normally the people that have had a connection with the natural environment when they're young that are now the people who are passionate about saving it. And I fear that there aren't enough young people out there, playing in the mud. And this is a way that can help. But
reconnecting.
Yeah. I mean, we're all so busy. That's the thing. And in COVID, we could slow down a bit, and we've gone back into the busy. And I think a lot of us are feeling quite stressed and depressed at the same time because we can't do all those lovely things. We can't go out walking with the children every day and sit in a field and have a cocktail like I rather enjoyed with my husband. So yeah, it is strange times because there's a lot of underground sort of shift changing and worry. And this is just one of the little good things going on, and there's lots of other good things, and I think that's the message that we should all take away from this, that change is coming.
Holly, I love your positivity, and I love how passionate you're about it.
Oh,
just remind people at home how they can get in touch and volunteer, to donate, to just get involved.
All through the website, which is gleaningcornwall.org.uk. There's all sorts of little links to sign up to volunteer, be a farmer friend, whatever it is. And if you just want to email me, if you haven't got website, it's gleaningcornwall@gmail.com.
Brilliant stuff. And if you missed any of the details, don't forget you can always reach out to us here at Chaos. Maybe you do know somebody with a trailer, or you can help with those 4x4 vehicles or a van or whatever. Just get in touch with us here. Holly, thanks so much for coming on. I feel like we could talk for ages about this.
There's a whole world to see.
See, she's right. Brilliant.